Hi, and welcome to a special episode of SWITCHCast, a podcast delving into the world of film brought to you by the team at Switch. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Charlie David Page.
I'm Jess Benton.
I'm Daniel Lemon.
And I'm Brent Davidson.
It's Thursday the 26th of December 2019. Not only are we back from hiatus, but it's our golden anniversary. That's right, we are turning 50. We have hit 50 episodes for SWITCHCast.
We're back, bitches!
Back in a big way.
It's all the original team. Oh.
The OGs. Yup, Quinn.
We're all in this together. Okay.
Oh no, he's gone to the bad place.
What? It's not on yours?
On today's show, we're looking at the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. The Switch team have been feverishly compiling their top films of not just 2019, but the past decade.
Dum, dum, dum.
Oh, now we're ready to share these tough decisions and hear from you about your favourites.
Plus, we'll be looking ahead to 2020 to find out what's on the horizon, from superhero epics to good old-fashioned musicals to hidden indie gems to the fucking Lighthouse. We'll share Switch's most anticipated films for the new year.
And as always, all our giveaways and film recommendations.
But before we get started, a quick PSA from the Switch team. We do what we do for the love of movies. We don't have any advertising on the website, so you can focus on what's important, our film reviews. So we rely on support from people like you to keep Switch running. The good news is, if you become a member, you can score yourself a bunch of free stuff and access exclusive content. So head on over to patreon.com/maketheswitchau to find out how you can help us and access our exclusive competitions for supporters.
So if you'd like to keep hearing our voices instead of just reading them, you know what to do.
Thank you, Brent. All right, let's get straight into it with the biggest films of 2019. It's been a bit of a rough year for cinephiles, with true gems few and far between over the past 12 months. So let's start with all of our top fives. Okay, we're just going to go around the circle, naming our number 5 film. Jess, you're up first.
My number 5 was mid-90s.
Mid-90s, okay.
Yeah, Jonah Hill's directorial debut, mid-90s.
Okay. Daniel, what have you got for your number 5?
I am going to go with the director's cut of Midsummer.
I knew it was going to be in there somewhere.
Is number 4 the non-director's cut?
I hope
No! I'm not that predictable.
And then number 3 is the Chinese cut of Midsummer.
Which is at about 5 minutes long. Yeah, probably.
Number 2 is the uncut.
all right, Brent, what's your number 5?
Look, don't hold it against me. I didn't see too many films this year, so
Oh my god.
number 5 on my list is one of the films I saw this year, Toy Story 4.
Oh, really?
I'm horrified.
Of the
We're
films
going-
I've seen this year, it's one of the best.
Are we literally just going to be listing every Disney film that was released here?
Have you only seen 5 films this year? That's what I'm thinking right now.
Did you not see any on a plane this year?
Where have I been this year? No, I haven't even been overseas. It's been a very quiet year.
Sweetheart.
Anyway,
All right, my number 5 is going to be a very late edition, but I did fall in love with it very quickly. Ask Dr. Ruth.
ooh, I do want to
yes.
see that.
I
do
so
wanna
want to see that.
It's great. I really recommend it. It's so much fun, and she's a fucking lovely human being. You just want to be her best friend.
So clearly just mid-90s made an impression, because that was very early in the year.
Oh,
Mid-90s.
absolutely. Not only am I a huge fan, I was a huge fan of Jonah Hill before I saw it. I'm an even bigger fan now that I know his voice as a filmmaker, and I'm so excited to see what he does in the future. So excited. I thought it was such a beautifully made, personal story. I loved the fact that it was a cast of unknowns. I walked away with the biggest smile on my face after I saw that film. I was so excited.
It is a very genuine, sweet. I don't want to say that to make it sound like I'm being dismissive of it, but like it was a very sweet film.
It was, yeah.
I hate nostalgia. I think nostalgia is the devil and it's a plague, but surprisingly, I found myself thinking very much about being in the mid-90s, like remembering the texture and the tone and the sound and the smells of it. Yeah, it's a lovely film.
I hope the next segment isn't too much for you then, Daniel, because we are looking at the films of the last 10 years. So.
It's just going to be him going the entire
Fuck
time.
nostalgia.
Well, let's let's push on and look at our number 4 films. Jess, you can go with your number 4 first.
I don't want to say because I'm going to get yelled at.
Jessica, you're in a safe space.
Okay, well, I'll go it because I've got no shame.
Oh, God. Okay, what Disney film do you have, Brent?
Jesus Christ.
Another film from our Lord and Savior, or our overlord, shall we say, the Disney conglomerate. That would be Spider-Man Far From Home. Another film that I saw this year.
Brent.
What?
I liked it.
Good for you.
Also, you have to remember, all the films that I've seen that I've reviewed this year have mostly been terrible. So
I'm like Toy Story 4, and I think you've done Toy Story 4 a disservice.
It's got Daddy Jake Gyllenhaal in it. What else do you want?
Doing one of the worst performances of his... Let's move on. That we could get stuck talking about this forever.
Daniel, let's go to you next. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Marriage Story.
Oh, good choice.
Okay, that is definitely prominent on a few lists. So let's see what Jess has. Jess, what is your number 4?
Okay, please don't yell at me, guys.
It's okay. It's a safe space.
It's also Spider-Man.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's Avengers Endgame.
Oh, it was gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Thank you.
We have our first Marvel entry.
You have to understand how many years and how many films it took to get to this point. I was so deeply invested. This was such a huge moment for me and like millions of people around the world. Do not dismiss it. It's Avengers Endgame.
You know what, Jess? You are actually one of the few friends that I have that love those films and was in no way obnoxious. And
Thank you.
It was nice to see you actually genuinely love it and be loving in your love for it, as opposed to needing to assert your existence as a human being by just saying what you thought of it.
Well, she's not like an incel, so she's not going to be that awful about it.
Oh, wow. It's good to be back on this.
And hi, everyone. My number 4 was...
Oh, yeah, Charlie's here, guys.
Hi, hello. My number 4 was 8th Grade.
Oh,
Good one. Everyone forgot about it because it snuck in at
That
the start
movie
of
was
the
amazing.
year. What a
Yeah.
lovely, again, little ode to nostalgia and coming-of-age story.
It was about one girl's pure hatred of bananas.
Okay, if you choose to look at it that way, okay. Yeah.
Gucci.
Well, let's move on to our number 3s on the list. Who wants to go first?
I will. Mine's a late comer, and only I can relate to my love of this film among this crowd, but it's Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, because you're the only one of us who have
you're
seen
a
it,
lucky
unfortunately.
I'm the only one that
Otherwise,
hasn't
it probably
seen
would be on my list too. I guess we'll have to
it's
wait and
Jojo
see about
Rabbit.
that one. All right, Daniel, what about your number 3?
We're in stone cold masterpiece territory now. My number 3 is Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which I still don't think I've recovered from 4 or 5 months later.
Oh, and it's only number 3. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
what a great way to describe it as a stone-cold masterpiece, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yeah. Oh, mate, Brent, wait till you see this film. Your little gay heart will just fall apart.
Whoa, way to out me on fucking...
Oh, wow, Brent's gay.
Well, our listeners are not aware of your sexuality, Brent. There's no one
I'm
aware
joking.
of this.
Hello, all my films so far have been superhero movies.
And when you refer to one of them as Jake Gyllenhaal Daddy. True.
Valid point.
Fooling no one.
And what's yours, Brent? What's your number 3?
Dare we ask?
So, prepare that bus because I'm about to be thrown under it. My number 3 film for the year was, once again, from Disney.
Oh, Jesus.
If you say Aladdin, I'm going to lose.
Oh my god, no.
No, it's going to be The
Lion King.
Oh god, no, that was... I don't even want to get started on The Lion King.
We're not mentioning that cat film
That
in this
cat
podcast.
film.
Mention the
We can talk
war.
about the other cat film, but not this cat film.
My number 3 was Ladies Kickin' Butt this time, and Captain Marvel. I really had a great time with that.
Oh, I think you're one of the few on the planet that did, Brent.
Yeah. Even that's a no-go for me.
I actually think you've done Spider-Man Far From Home a disservice by winning that one.
It's moving further away from where it should be.
And we could get stuck in this forever. What's yours, Charlie? What is your number 3?
Mine is, and I think it'll feature on a few lists, Parasite.
Oh, yeah.
Parasite.
I didn't put it on my list because I knew that everyone would have it on theirs.
I mean, besides Captain Marvel, that's some great films in there.
Whatever, it's a personal opinion. My top films of the year, just because I didn't happen to
That's
see
true,
everything.
sweetheart. Own it. Own it.
I'm so certain, Brent, that I know what your top film is, and if it isn't, I'm going to be so upset when
Yeah.
it isn't what I think it is.
We're moving towards it.
Actually, if it's what I think it is, I'm like, yes, I agree with you. This is a good film.
I only landed on it today, remembering that it came out
God.
this year. So.
Well, we're going to find out very soon. We're up to number 2. Jess, do you want to reveal your number 2?
It's A Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Or Quentin Tarantino.
Such
Sorry.
a great film.
Such
Such
a
a great
great
film. Oh, it's such a good film.
I know,
fucking
and
love
for
that
anyone who
film.
called it too long and too boring, you can burn in hell.
Oh,
For anyone who called it too long and too boring, here's the Lord of the Rings extended cut.
God. Careful,
Oh my
we don't want a
God.
fist fight here.
oh my God.
I'm
Brent.
joking. I'm
Grenade
joking.
thrown.
It was just to get a rise. Come on.
Yeah, Jess, that is a fucking stellar film.
Okay, Daniel, just take a few deep breaths and tell us your number 2 for 2019.
My number 2 is another Stone Cold masterpiece, Parasite.
Oh.
Parasite's my number 2. Yep.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear your number 1 now.
Oh, no
honestly-
one's going to be excited. Everyone's going to be like, what film?
I thought 3 of the contenders you've already said for what I thought your list would be, so I'm so excited.
What was the third?
I honestly thought your number 1 would be Parasite, and then also either like Midsummer or Portrait of a Lady on Fire would be in there somewhere. But yeah.
So we've lost a few of those already.
Like to keep everybody guessing.
The anticipation.
All right, Brent, God help us.
No,
Hit us.
you can't throw me under the bus for this one because we've already heard it. My number 2 film for the year was Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
It's a cultural phenomenon. You just can't
Thank
go past
you.
it.
You literally haven't named a film not created by the Walt Disney Company.
I know. I prefaced with that. I'm sorry.
Please save us, Charlie.
Do you want me
save
to
us.
say the dictionary fucking film?
That's not out till next year, Brent.
Do yourself a favor and don't bother.
We've still got a few months. You can put that on your 2020 list, The Professor and the Madman.
What about you, Charlie?
I fell in love with this immediately. I really enjoyed Knives Out, so I put it at number 2 in my list.
one.
It's
That's a
just
fun
so
one.
much fun.
Hey, guess what, everyone? Ryan Johnson is a great director. Has always been. Hasn't made a bad film, including that last one.
Okay, sending hate mail. Some Star Wars fans
Not
will
gonna say
not
anything,
like
not
that.
gonna say anything, not gonna say anything.
I've heard so many people who've told me like that they've spoken to people who are upset that Knives Out is so great because they can't accept that Ryan Johnson made a great film because they hate The
horrible
Last
thing to
Jedi.
say.
And it's like, guys, you need to let this be. Like, just let it go.
Last Jedi wasn't bad.
The Last Jedi is fucking fabulous. It's fucking fabulous.
Irregardless of that, Knives Out should be evaluated of its own accord and
merit,
enjoyed in that way.
Yeah.
But now the moment you've all been waiting for, we are about to reveal our number 1 films of 2019. There have been a lot of contenders. There have been a lot of really bad films. So, what takes us to the best spots? Let's start with Jess.
Okay, I have probably seen this movie close to, if not on double digits at this stage. My love for it knows no bounds. It's Booksmart.
Yes!
I am not surprised.
Fucking masterpiece.
Whoop, whoop. Female director, female story, phenomenal female cast. It is hysterical. It is fantastic. Booksmart.
That's sitting as my number 6 for the year. And up until I saw Marriage Story, it was my number 5. It's so fucking good.
All right, well, Daniel, it is now time to reveal your number 1. Hit us.
The funny thing is, I actually saw this film for the first time last year, but it wasn't released until this year. And the first time I saw it, I actually didn't like it at all.
Oh, I know what this is.
I didn't get
then.
what people liked about it. And then I saw it again, and within 10 minutes, I was like, oh, fuck. This is one of the best films I've ever seen, and I just didn't realize. And so, because it was released in Australia this year, my number 1 film is Burning. It's the South Korean Murakami adaptation.
Everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, we're excited to hear what it is. Like, it's a film that Ashley and I, as far as I know, are the only two that have actually seen it.
It did have a very limited Australian release, but from everyone who saw it, be it at Melbourne International Film Festival last year and in cinemas, it's received rave reviews.
Yeah, it's astounding. Like, it's crushing. It was amazing to rewatch it in a close period with Parasite, because they're talking about very similar things about the state of the class system in South Korea.
One slightly less humorous.
Yeah, one treats it as a thriller comedy, the one treats it as a straight thriller. But yeah, that's my number 1.
There is a perfect film to go and hunt down and check out yourself. Okay, Brent, time for you to drop the D-bomb on us. What is your number 1 film?
Please let me be right. Please let me be right.
This film, for me, was the best. Like no one ever was. It would be Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Yes.
Shut your stupid
Yes.
face.
No, I'm with Brent. Great film.
I'm sorry. It was everything I wanted out of a Pokemon live action film.
my God.
It had heart, it had a bit of nostalgia, but not too much. It wasn't obnoxious with it. And it was cute and beautiful, and I cried at the weirdest moments. So it was beautiful.
You know what, Brent? I actually reckon it was the best summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like, I actually really enjoyed it. I sat next to Brent because I wanted to hear him cry. It
happened.
It's great.
It really
I
happened.
like it. I really like that film.
Yeah, me too.
For those two people who didn't realize that Brent was gay, he also really likes Pokemon. That's the other thing you need to know about him.
Oh my god, I'll just leave now. Fucking hell.
Wow.
Killing me.
Such a scalping. Wow.
At least I didn't bring up Eurovision. Come on.
That film's out next year. Will Ferrell's film about Eurovision is out next year, so we'll be keeping our eyes out for that.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Oh, I'm going to vomit. What's yours, Charlie?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, Daniel.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
It's also Pokemon.
It is definitely not. I loved Pokemon, but it's not worthy of my top 5. It is a film that I don't think anyone else has actually seen, but I really loved, and it kind of knocked me out of my seat because I was really not expecting it to be as good as it was. It was a darling of the Sydney Film Festival and a fantastic, fantastic Australian film from a really unique new voice in this country. It's Judy and Punch.
Oh, wow.
I really loved this film, and I think it's great. Unfortunately, it's not yet out on home entertainment, but when it does come out early next year, I really want everybody to check it out. And it is funny, it's dark, it's got such a strong feminist message in it, it has such interesting things to say about empowerment. It's just a really, really great film, and it's beautifully, beautifully shot for an Australian film. It's just one of the best I've seen in such a long time. So
And it's got Damon Harriman in it, right? Who is
yes,
just
it does.
going
And
great guns.
Neil
He's
Sikowska
got
and-
absolute great guns at the moment.
And not playing Charles Manson.
No, not
in
playing
this
Charles
instance.
Manson.
He's also pretty incredible in The Nightingale as well. And Mia Wasikowska. Who doesn't love Mia
Yes,
Wasikowska?
and she's great in everything. So, yeah, I really implore you to go and check it out when it does hit home entertainment. Well, that was a real mixed bag there, but these are just our opinions. There are 5 more Switch members who've also jotted down their top 5 films for 2019, so head over to maketheswitch.com.au to find out what the rest of the team had to say.
And to wrap up the year, we want to know your favourite film of 2019 and why. Did Parasite get under your skin? Did you fall in love with Marriage Story? Was Godzilla your king of the monsters? Whatever your opinion, we want to know your top pick and why. And in exchange, you could win a massive prize pack. So head to maketheswitch.com.au to find out how you can enter.
Now it's time to get nostalgic. Sorry,
Whoop, whoop.
Daniel.
Fuck nostalgia.
And cast our gaze back over the decade that's been.
Certainly these two gays.
So 2019 has been a period full of indie classics, raucous comedies, tear-jerking dramas, and out-of-this-world sci-fi epics. Yeah, MCU. So this is going to be a tough one. With so many movies to choose from, everyone's sure to have varied opinions. And yes, they are opinions and not facts. Let's start with your number 5, Charlie.
First thing to say is that this list, I decided it was such a hard tactic to go and pick 5 films from the past decade, and I went with
Which is funny
films-
because you're the person who told us to do it.
You
So
made
it's
us
like,
do
You
this!
bitch, this was your assignment for us.
You sadomasochistic.
I feel a lot of resentment about this, but it's important that we share our opinions. They want to hear from us.
who for some reason want to listen.
Just giving the people what they want.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone wants to see them.
So the way I picked these, they make me so, so happy, and films that I watch over and over again. That was my guidelines. So my number 5 film for 2010 to 2019 is The Way, Way Back.
I fucking knew it. I was like, he's going to pick The Way, Way Back in this top 5. I was like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. It's a good film.
You're going to pick a lot of them, Daniel.
Yeah. That's a lovely film.
It is. It's heartfelt. It's summer. It's coming of age. It's all the things you want in a film. And it's very funny and heartfelt. So
All right, Daniel, your number 5 of the decade.
Well, I didn't have as much trouble as everyone else seems to have with this list, but except with number 5. Number 5, I debated over and over again. For this one, I went with the same criteria that Charlie went with of a film that I just love. I don't think that it's flawless, and I think there probably are maybe better films, but my number 5 is Call Me By Your Name. I just almost nothing in the last decade made me feel
I
anything.
think everyone
close to...
can say that film had a really strong impression on them.
Yeah.
Anyone who sees it is just, you fall head over heels for it.
It's haunted me since the day I saw it.
Absolutely.
I adore it. I absolutely adore it. So that's my number 5.
All right, Brent, number 5, go.
My number 5 was also, now that the competition is over, the film that was one of my favorites of all time, actually, that I would have recommended to my 8-year-old self.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, God. If only that was released in the last 10 years. Where's my sequel? But no, it's Kedi, the Turkish documentary about how cats change people's lives in Istanbul.
You stumped a lot of people with that one.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Except me, I got it instantly. I was like, wait, Turkish film, cat pun, it's Kedi.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. Also, it's heartbreaking. These people have lived such trauma but find such joy in their cats. Spoiler alert, so do I. And it's just beautiful. And it's shot in such a beautiful way.
What about you, Jess? Hit us. What's your number 5?
I picked a film that, I don't just think is great. I actually have genuine love and adoration for this film. It's Easy A.
Yeah.
It is a great film. Yes.
That's a
That
lovely
was the
film.
other option I had on my Dancer in the Dark date.
You should have gone with that one.
Because in my opinion, this is the film, I know she'd been in other films before, but this is the film that gave us Emma Stone as a movie star.
Yes.
And I'm so eternally grateful. And obviously she's had the most phenomenal career since. So yeah, my number 5 is Easy A.
Easy A walked the books Mark could run. Like, that's how, it's kind of a fundamental film, that one.
Absolutely. All right, now we're up to number 4, Charlie, of the decade, number 4.
Well, I've gone for a documentary. It's something that, again, I don't think a lot of people will have seen, but it honestly is one of the most heart-wrenching and moving pieces of cinema that I have ever seen. It's Last Men in Aleppo, which is a great documentary about the emergency response teams who are working in Syria. And honestly, the guys watching their lives day in, day out is just absolutely phenomenal. And the fact that they choose to stay and help people, even though they're putting themselves in such dire danger, it's a phenomenal piece of cinema. And just the fact it was captured at all, being in Syria, as well as technically being able to do it in a war-torn country, it's just unfathomable. It's a great film.
So, Daniel, number 4 of the decade.
My number 4 for the decade is, I think, the greatest American film of the decade, which is David Fincher's The Social Network.
Good
Good
choice.
one.
Yep.
Good choice.
I think it's a masterpiece, but also I will never, ever forgive Tom Hooper beating David Fincher at the Oscars over that one. Yeah.
That's where it all began.
Yeah, basically.
The anger runs deep.
I think it's as monumental a film in terms of like a portrait of obsession and hubris as Citizen Kane. I think it's kind of like the 21st century Citizen Kane in terms of its tremendous hubris of a single human being. It's astounding.
It's your second film with Armie Hammer.
Oh, it is actually true.
Telling.
Wow.
And that has 2 Armie Hammers in it. Hamai.
Yeah.
When one isn't enough.
Does your next film have 3 Armie Hammers in it?
Well,
One
we'll
can
just have to
hope.
wait and see.
All right, Brent, number 4 of the decade.
My number 4 is a beautiful, beautiful film in just the way that it's put together and styled. So my number 4 is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh,
What a fucking cool film. Yes.
Great one.
fucking masterpiece. That came out the same year as The Social Network, and that would have been my second film for that.
Yeah.
So from that year.
That's a good one.
For me, it sort of brought everything together. I love those kind of teen, hilarious comedies, but I'm a big sort of comic book fan and video game fan. And the marriage of all 3 of them just sort of worked in a way that you could never imagine.
It is a work of art, honestly.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful culmination of color, sound, and action. It is nuts.
And the level of detail.
I still think it's Edgar Wright's best film. I don't think he's come close to matching what an incredible film it is.
I almost put Baby Driver on my list. That's another good one.
Oh,
such
that
a
is a
good
good
film.
one.
Yeah.
Well, what is your number 4 on your list, Jess?
My number 4 is a documentary, and it's on there for its significance worldwide. This film actually changed the world, like a small portion of the world, but the world none the same. Not as much as one would like, but it still made huge impact. It's Blackfish. Yes.
Interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, try driving past or trying to enter a SeaWorld these days without seeing protesters and signs and placards. And if you wonder why, it's because of this movie. So, The Incredible Blackfish.
Haunting.
I sat in the toilets after that screening and cried. Like,
Yeah.
it's a fucking full-on film.
All right, now we're okay. Almost halfway through. Number 3, Charlie, of the decade. Go.
Well, again, joyous, beautiful, and I think it was the number 1 for last year. It was Coco.
I called it. I sent Daniel a text at 8:54 saying he'll pick Coco too.
Did you? Oh my god, you did. My phone's on silent, so I did. Oh my god, Brent. Prophet. Soothsayer. Prognosticator.
That's the first Disney appearance.
Not of the podcast, just of the list.
I like it. Daniel?
This one I actually don't think I would have remembered to put on the list till I rewatched it very recently and was kind of staggered that I'd forgotten how great a film it is. My number 3 is Hayao Miyazaki's The Wind Rises.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, his very loose biopic about the man who created one of the most important and controversial aircrafts for Japan during the Second World War. I think it might be one of the greatest biopics I've ever seen. To give you an example of like what an incredible work of imagination it is, obviously there's lots of aircraft in the film, but all of the aircraft, the sounds of the aircraft are human voices. So it's the sound of human voices making the sounds of airplanes. So it has this like organic quality to it, and that in itself I'm just like, fuck off, that's amazing. So yeah, The Wind Rises is my number 3.
Fascinating. Brent, your number 3 of the decade.
My number 3 of the decade, I feel like it brought the franchise back into relevancy, but I'm going to go with Skyfall, the James Bond film.
Oh.
I reckon it's the best James Bond.
Exactly, and I think everyone would agree with you on that. It sort of just took out most of the campy shtick and made it a really, like, Sam Mendes did a phenomenal job on it. It was beautifully shot, brilliant action. It was just the perfect Bond film.
It finally put Dame Judy in the spotlight. Thank you very much.
Hello, Dame Judy.
Hello, Dame.
That's my number 3.
What about you, Jess? What's yours?
All right, guys, we've come to our first double up.
Ooh.
My number 3 is The Social Network.
Oh, she
girl.
knows a masterpiece.
I
She
do,
knows a
I
masterpiece.
do. But one of the things I pointed out, and you'll be able to read this in full on the website, is that we've spent so much of the last decade with superhero films and everyone's thirst for origin films. The Social Network is an origin film. Call Mark Zuckerberg a hero, call him a villain. It is an origin film. With great power comes great responsibility, and we saw what Mark Zuckerberg has done with that great power.
Squandered
and
it.
This is that film that tells you about it. So yeah, it's The Social Network. Okay, we're getting to the nitty-gritty now. Number 2 of the decade, Charlie.
Well, this one might be a bit more of a surprise, but I feel like this epitomizes a lot of me personally in this film.
And the others don't?
No, this one is the closest to being me. It is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Oh.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
a lovely film.
It is a beautiful film, and it's just with my love of travel and exploration.
And daydreaming.
I mean, yes and no, but definitely the travel aspects of this film make it so fantastic. And there was another little film called Hector and the Search for Happiness, which followed in the same vein, which wasn't quite as good as this, but I loved both of them nonetheless for that love of travel.
Brilliant. All right, Daniel, number 2.
Burning is my number 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, twice on the podcast.
Yeah. Burning is my number 2. I think it's that. I think it's that monumental a film. I think it's.
I like it. All right, Brent, number 2.
My number 2, which is probably on
Number
some
2.
other lists, I would... Oh, Jess, grow
You
up.
said number 2 a lot.
What?
I'm going to go with Her.
Oh,
Yes,
such
that
a
came
good
so
one.
close to being on my list.
I know.
Oh my god.
Do you know I'm still angry at you all for not mentioning the sex scene in Her and the segment you did on like best sex scenes in films? I think that has the best sex scene in any film I've ever seen.
You don't hold grudges, Daniel.
I wasn't on that podcast. Hello.
I know everyone else who was on it.
Sorry.
I think it was
Still angry.
Jake, Jess, and myself.
Yep. I was cleaning my bathroom and I yelled out, "What? Why the fuck didn't you mention Her?"
Well, at least you weren't lifting weights.
No, that's true.
I'm still bitter that Scarlett Johansson wasn't nominated for an Oscar for her role in that.
Oh,
honestly.
so
She's
So
brilliant.
exquisite.
Especially when you consider the fact that she wasn't the original voice and that's not who he's acting with.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it was Samantha Morton
Samantha
originally.
Morton, yeah. She did the whole thing, and then she was on set as well, and then Scarlett Johansson came in at the last second.
It's a good year for ScarJo. She had a great year that year.
Great, yeah.
What's your number 2, Jess?
Okay, my number 2. Okay, we've come to another double up. I know. My number 2 is Call Me By Your Name.
Oh, she knows the
yay.
masterpiece.
Damn, girl.
Yeah, this film fucked me up. It is so exquisite. I can't even. Like, it's just, oh my God. Yeah, there are reviews. We've got past podcasts talking about this. It's just, Call Me By Your Name. If you haven't seen it, just fucking see it, okay?
We can give you Daniel's phone number. He'll cry down the phone for an hour until
I will. I spent a lot of time thinking about that fucking film and that book,
Oh,
so yes.
It's just every day. Anyway, okay, and now we're here. We have arrived. We hath arrived at number one-eth. Charlie, your number one film of the last 10 years. Give it to us.
Well, if I am to call it by its correct title, it is.
teasing.
It's a foreign. It's a foreign.
It might be foreign to some people, but it ain't foreign.
Oh my God, get to it!
It is Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Oh.
Also known as
Right.
Birdman.
Okay.
I did not see that coming.
No, me either.
Yeah. Again, going by my rules, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it makes me happy, and it's rewatchable. And to me, that is kind of the epitome of this particular film. I love watching it, and it's just cool. And although I was contemplating also putting The Revenant into this list, I thought I had to just stick to one in or out two films. So
All right, Daniel, your number one of the decade.
Moonlight.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like,
yes.
it's Moonlight. Like,
Yeah.
there hasn't been a better film in the last
But
10 years.
Daniel, how did God's Own Country not make its way into your top
Yeah.
5?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because it's 10 years worth of fucking films. Like, aren't all have come from the same fucking year? No,
Who
like,
says? Who's making these rules?
because, it's Moonlight is my number one film
Okay,
of the decade.
I'm just saying
That's
you
good.
love
That's
called
good.
God's Own Country.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I love God's Own Country. I love Parasite. I love The Witch. I love Mad Max. But I couldn't put them all in. But no, the one that I think is the most incredible piece of filmmaking I've seen
Okay.
in the last 10 years is Moonlight. It's
Yeah.
a masterpiece.
Daniel, you ruined that completely. You should have said my number one is La La Land. I mean Moonlight.
Oh, missed opportunities.
I know. Anyway, okay, Brent, number one. Number one, Brent, go.
Jesus Christ, help us. What is it
Oh,
going to be?
no. I swear, if it's fucking Detective Pikachu, I'm going to scream.
Oh, everyone has such little faith in me.
Why? Why?
I don't know.
Prove us wrong, Brent. Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know, pick an Olivia Assayas film or something, just throw us off.
It's never gonna happen.
My number one film of the decade is probably something that sort of challenged my preconceptions about how to make and what film is the most. So,
This is so deep.
Oh, I know, right?
I know what this is.
who
and I'm
would have
very-
thought you
I'm-
could
I know
film
what
it?
this is, and I'm very proud of you. This
Thank
is a
you.
good choice.
Who would have thought you could film a feature film on an iPhone? But my top film is Tangerine.
Good choice.
Nice.
It
It
was
was-
a really great choice.
Oh, thank you. He's not that terrible. I mean, I have seen films in the last 10 years. It's just this year that I haven't seen anything. It was explosive. It was operatic. It was funny. It was everything I wanted. It had actual trans actors. It was brilliant. Go see Tangerine.
All right, Jess. What is it? What is it? You've sweated this one. What is it?
I feel like I'm going to shock you, and it gets me all tingly inside.
After you saying that, Jess, I think I might know what it is.
Okay, here we go. My number one of the last 10 years is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. I went
Fuck.
there, people. Martin Scorsese, Jonah Hill, Leonardo DiCaprio in a role he should have won an Oscar for, but he ended up getting one 2 years
Yes.
later, so it's okay. But yeah, The Wolf of Wall Street. I love this film. It is so fun. It is fascinating to a T. It has everything. It has little people. It has hookers. It has
That is the
Leonardo
benchmark.
DiCaprio's snorting coke off a chick's ass. It has Margot Robbie in a career-defining role. It's amazing. Wolf of Wall Street. Come
Yeah,
at me, people.
Jess, that's
Can't disagree that it's a great film.
Fucking great film. That is such a fucking great film.
Oh, thank you. And of course, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. With so many amazing films hitting the big screen over the past decade, the rest of the Switch team have shared their top fives too. So check out maketheswitch.com.au for their list. And of course, we'd love to hear from you about your highlights as well. So get in touch on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at maketheswitchau.
It's just a matter of days until the new year is upon us, as well as a brand new slate of film releases. With 2020 a chance for a fresh start, there's plenty due in cinemas for you to get excited about. You can already find reviews for a slew of upcoming films on our website, including Greta Gerwig's absolutely fucking divine Little Women, Sam Mendes' incredible war film 1917, and the long-awaited and beloved Peanut Butter Falcon. You also have The fucking Lighthouse, which has taken 84 fucking years to get here, and it's been driving every single film buff on this continent nuts because Universal just wouldn't tell us when. But it's okay because it's coming out on February 6th, not before the end of this year, so we could have put it on our top films of the year list because it's a Robert Eggers film and it's going to be fucking great.
But he's not bitter or anything.
And I'm not bitter or anything. I'm not angry at all. Honestly, this is all that Ashley and I have been texting each other about this almost on a weekly basis for about 8 months now. Like, where the fuck is The fucking Lighthouse?
God, that's a group chat you all want to get on, I bet.
But there's a whole year's worth of films that aren't directed by Robert Eggers that we are all really excited about. So, Brent,
thank God.
What are the films that you're excited about coming up in the next 12 months?
Well, Daniel, I know you're excited for the sequel to Peter Rabbit.
Oh.
But I'm really looking forward to... I always get excited for a James Bond film, so No Time to Die is pretty exciting for me. I'm a big fan of campy 80s Wonder Woman 1984. And
Yeah,
I'm
that
also
looks
really
good.
looking forward to the Artemis Fowl movie. I was a big fan of the books as a child, thinking of myself as the, genius, mastermind, criminal, whatever he was. And really looking forward to seeing it. I once met the author, Owen Colfer, of the books, and me and my friend asked him how he pronounced licorice. So, that was a really great 9-year-old question for him.
There's another film that's taken 84 years to get to the screen. I remember reading that book as a teenager and them announcing that film back in the very early 2000s. It's one of those films I'll believe it when I'm sitting in the cinema and watching the damn thing.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I know. It's already been pushed once so far since it's been on the Disney release schedule. So,
The Disney Overlords. All right, Charlie, what about you? What's got you all excited for the next 12 months cinematically?
I'm really excited about just some really great entertainment films to begin with. I mean, Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be great. I'm really just dying to finally see the New Mutants, if that ever gets released in any format.
It doesn't exist. It's
Wouldn't
just a
hold your breath.
conspiracy. That film doesn't exist.
I need to see it now. It's just the anticipation. I'm going to steal one from probably your list, Daniel, but the trailer came out recently and it wowed all of us. In the Heights, I think everyone's going to fall in love with
I know
that.
that's not on my list, but yes, no, Into the Heights is pretty fucking exciting.
Yeah. We were talking about it on our group chat, and just everyone's got the song stuck in their head already. I'm a big Bob's Burgers fan, so I'm really looking forward to the film adaptation of that.
Yes,
Call
me
Basic.
too.
Yeah, it's great. But on the more slightly obscure side, we've got a interesting kind of horror thriller called Antlers coming out, which has kind of grabbed my interest. I'm intrigued by that. It's got Kerry Russell in it, so that could be kind of cool. And then just a really random, fun-looking comedy coming up. Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar, which I'm kind of intrigued about. It's got so many great people in it. Jamie Dornan, Kristen Wiig, such a great cast, and just looks like so much fun as well. So that's my list.
Sorry, I just remembered another one that I'm looking forward to on the
no.
list.
Okay, yeah.
I'm looking forward to Antebellum. It looks really bizarre and interesting, and I love Janelle Monáe, so there we are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Jess, how about you?
Okay, so I'm so excited because we have not one, but 2 Pixar films hitting cinemas next year, Onward and Soul.
Maybe there'll be a miracle, and maybe Soul will be about a female character as well. Another double miracle from Pixar.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's about a dude.
Fucking hell.
He's a man of color, so,
Well, okay, there's a
something.
start. There's
Yeah.
Small victories.
I'm also looking forward to Top Gun Maverick.
Yes!
Yes.
Fucking yes!
Really?
Looks
Yeah.
so
Oh my
good.
God. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to Bad Boys for Life, which we don't have to wait long for.
Oh
You
my
are
god.
so keen for that.
Judge me all you want, but I have to say, Bad Boys 2 is a rare occurrence of a sequel being better than the original, so I'm hoping it just gets better as it goes on. Bad Boys for Life. The Barbie film, the one that went round and around with Amy Schumer, and now it's got Margot Robbie in it, is set for release next year. The new Christopher Nolan film, Tenet, is due. The new Edgar Wright film, Last Night in Soho, is due. The remake of The Witches with Robert Zemeckis raucous and Anne Hathaway. And I actually came across one today, and I just read the description and I was like, oh my God, I'm already crying. It's called Bios, and it's got Tom Hanks in it, who is the last man on Earth after a post-apocalyptic whatever, and he builds a robot to take care of his dog for when he dies.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Stop it. He cares about his dog so much that he's using his last breaths on this earth to build a robot to take care of the dog. Oh, it's like Turner and Hooch Part 2. All right, Daniel, tell us what you're looking forward to in 2020.
I am also really looking forward to the new Christopher Nolan, Tenet, or however you pronounce
Tenet?
it.
Tenet?
Yes, whatever it is. Yep. I am fucking dying to see Spielberg's new version of West Side Story, written by Tony Kushner, which I just can't fucking wait to see. That comes out on my birthday, so I'm really excited about that.
Happy birthday to me.
The two that I'm actually the most excited about are Denis Villeneuve, the director of Arrival and Prisoners and Blade Runner 2049. It's his adaptation of Dune, which the most incredible cast, and it's like, I just hope it's going to be amazing. And to kind of link in with my top 5 for the decade, the new film from Hayao Miyazaki. He's coming out of retirement to take one more film. It's called How Do You Live? It is being released to coincide with the Olympics, and we know basically nothing about it. But apparently he said it has to do with that he's making it as a way to tell his grandson that one day his grandfather will not be here, but that he loves him, which is like fucking hell, Miyazaki. So yeah, they would be the films I'm the most excited about. They all sound like really great films though.
It's going to be a fun year.
It doesn't accommodate for the little gems that are going to pop up from Sundance or Venice or Cannes, which always produce the films that we're really excited about. So yeah, lots to look forward to, people. 2020.
Oh shit.
Yes.
I just thought of another one. Anyway.
Go hit up Brent on Twitter. Apparently he has an endless supply of films that
desperate
you
to
should go
know.
see.
It's a Swedish summer musical that won't be out until next year that my friend directed. It's really good. It's called En del av mitt hjärta, A Piece of My Heart, a jukebox musical based on the music of one of Sweden's biggest selling artists, Thomas Ledden. And it
Wow, that is
stars,
definitely never coming to Australia.
stars Marlon Ackerman, so she's pretty famous.
Oh, yeah, actually.
And it looks delightful, and if anyone knows how to direct a musical, it's Edward Ofsalen.
Well, maybe it'll be at MIF. Maybe it'll be at Sydney Film Festival.
God, I hope it's at MIF. Edward, bring it to MIF if you're listening to this. I think I've just actually said it to you as well. So just bring it to MIF. God damn it.
Well, as we discussed, that is really just the tip of the iceberg for 2020. There are so many films to look forward to, and in case you haven't got enough film recommendations from us
Jesus
so far
Christ.
today, my God, your notepad must be full.
Scraping
Every
that
time there
barrel.
was a double up, our listeners were like, thank fuck, like shit.
Maybe they'll have some real content next.
Like, what the fuck? Burning? What the fuck is that? Oh, fuck, shut up.
It's what my ears are doing right now.
No, that's bleeding, Brent. That's bleeding.
We have to stick with tradition and offer you some
Tradition.
cinematic inspiration, with each of us suggesting a film that you should see this week and why. For me, I'm going back to 2015. This one came almost in my top 5. It was a tough decision not to include it because it is a really great film. It has one of my favorite actors in it, who actually won an Oscar for this role. It also has a breakaway role for its younger star. So there's another clue.
Oh my God, just get to
love
it.
We know what it is, Charlie. We're all used to confined spaces.
You're like Danny Glover in Jumanji, the next level.
I do not have a fan on. It's so hot right now. I just need to get out of this.
Just jump into the back of the ute and get on with it.
Well, just like Brent's room, this film is extremely hot. It is called Room.
Oh,
There we go.
I don't have anyone trapped in here
Yes,
crying.
excellent film.
Brie Larson can do no wrong.
Yep.
Honestly, love her to bits. She's
Oh,
fantastic.
yet apparently Captain Marvel wasn't a good enough choice for 2019.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
She's great in it, but the film is not great, okay? Anyway, focusing on Room here, which is Oscar-nominated Room.
And we would just like to remind our listeners the fact that we do not think it is a good film has nothing to do with the fact that it's a female character or a female-led film. It's just not a good film.
I liked it, so there.
But anyway, that is my pick for this week. Jess, what have you got in store?
Yeah, I'm cheating, and I'm going to piss off Daniel at the same time, so it's a double bonus for me. I'm going with a TV series that is high in nostalgia. I recently binged it. It's only 4 episodes. It's on Netflix, so you can watch it now. It's called The Movies That Made Us. So there are only 4 episodes. It's Dirty Dancing, Die Hard, Home Alone, and Ghostbusters. And it's like a docu-series where they talk to producers and directors and stars and designers and all this sort of stuff about how these films get made. So beyond the physical aspects and hardships of getting a film made, just the behind-the-scenes politics and wrangling actors and getting funding is such a huge thing, and how almost all of these movies never came to be, and they were all sort of miraculously saved at the 11th hour. And for all these people who love these movies, which should be everyone because they're all great, it's a really fascinating look back at history. So yeah, The Movies That Made Us on Netflix.
I'm gonna check.
I've watched that.
I'm gonna check that out. That sounds cool. I love a good making of thing.
It's really digestible as well.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they do it in a really entertaining way. It's not dry to watch at all.
Well, that sounds like a really cool recommendation, even if you're breaking the bloody rules. But anyway.
Yeah, I love how you
made
thought
these
that
rules.
I'd be upset, not that Charlie, who doesn't like this shit happening, would get upset.
Charlie makes rules, he breaks rules, and he fakes rules. So yeah.
I am all of those things and more. But we're focusing on Daniel here. It's Daniel's turn to take center stage and tell us what his film recommendation for the week is.
So I'm recommending Burning. No, I'm not recommending Burning. What a surprise! I'm not recommending. I recommend Burning, but that's not my recommendation for the week. Actually, at first I felt a little bit silly about recommending this film because it's a very famous film, but I also thought about it and realized that most film buffs just don't give it a go, which I think is a tremendous shame. And I'm going to suggest the 1978 classic Superman the movie, which is technically, I would say, is probably the first superhero film, like the template by which what we understand as superhero film started. I think it's the superhero film though which every other one is still judged by. Nolan in particular used it was a massive influence for him on The Dark Knight, and I still think it's the best. It's the best superhero film.
Hello, the score is incredible.
The score is incredible. It's so beautifully romantic and sentimental and iconic and funny. And Margot Kidder is amazing. Christopher Reeve is divine. And Gene Hackman is amazing. Like, it's everything that you want from a superhero film and everything you want from a Superman film. And I think it's a stone cold classic. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, don't be a fucking snob. Watch Superman the movie. You'll fucking love it.
Cool.
Well, to not be a fucking snob about recommendations, here's mine.
What's that, Brent?
This is a film I watched recently, as in a couple of nights ago, and forgot how good it was. It's genre-defining. It's genre-breaking. It launched
Jean-Claude
a
Van
bunch
Damme?
of careers. No, Steven Seagal. No, it's actually the classic, or what I would consider classic, spoof film, Not Another Teen Movie.
Boy.
Nice.
Honestly, though, of that genre of we're taking the piss films, it is the best.
Yeah.
They got all the good actors in it. Molly Ringwald is in it. Chris Evans is in it. Like, it's got names. It knows what it's doing. It's funny. It's outrageous. You probably couldn't make it today with half the jokes that are in it. But,
true.
you know, still had a good old chortle.
Chris Evans with the
Nothing
shaving
but
cream,
whipped cream, yeah.
with whipped cream was
Was that your sexual awakening?
sexual awakening for, I think, a large portion of the gay men that live on this
Everyone,
planet. Like,
Portrait of a Daniel on fire.
Daniel's crotch on fire.
yeah. Hot.
I just love the throwaway lines. When she gets the water poured on her at the party after she's just jumped in the pool and someone in the background goes, "Oh, that's gonna stain." It's perfect.
Well, some great recommendations this week, and you can find the links to everything we've talked about on this week's podcast at maketheswitch.com.au. Please subscribe to SWITCHCast on iTunes or your favourite podcast platform, and don't forget to rate us. And please stay in touch on Twitter. I'm at Charlie_David. Jess?
At MissJess_Switch.
Daniel?
At Daniel Lamon.
And Brent.
At Brent C. Davidson.
And what's the C for? Sorry,
No, I'm
the ocean?
retiring it.
it's the letter C, not the body of
C
water.
like the body of water, not like the letter. Oh, whatever.
Classic. Like it, follow it. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at MakeTheSwitchAU to stay up to date with all the latest reviews, news, trailers, and giveaways.
And you can find all the notes and links to everything we've discussed on this week's podcast, as well as other episodes by visiting switchcast.com.au, including last week's episode when the Switch team reviewed every single film in cinemas for Boxing Day.
If you've enjoyed today's podcast and want to hear more from the Switch team, we really appreciate your support. We keep the site ad-free so you can focus on what's important, our film reviews. So to keep SWITCHCast running and score some free stuff, head to patreon.com/MakeTheSwitchAU to find out how you can help. We love doing this, guys. Help us make more podcasts.
We do. We love it.
Please. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you'd like to keep hearing our voices, my terrible jokes, Daniel's intense recommendations, Jess's yasses, and Charlie's you know what to do. Bye, bye, bye.
Yes, it is time to say bye-bye. It's the end of our podcast, but thanks so much for listening. Have a wonderful new year, and we'll see you soon.
We hope. Please.
Yes,
Please. We'll come back. Have us back.
Please, sir, if you want some more.